myself again and make them see logic, but they just told me to get out and never step foot in this house ever again. I was also incredibly angry at their stupidity and decided to leave. I drove home with Olivia. The two of us are still very upset and don't know what to do. I've been questioning myself, and all the things my mom and sister said have been repeating in my head, and I don't even know what to believe anymore. I'm just my mom and sis will get back to their senses and see that they're blaming the only innocent person in this scenario. I have tried to reach out to them, but my dad let me know that none of them wished to speak to me or Olivia anymore. Ida for making a joke? Update 1. I just want to say that I'm really grateful to those of you who support me and think that I did nothing wrong that night at the dinner party. Some of you have also asked questions about why Olivia reacted the way she did after my joke. I didn't want to get into this because that is quite personal, but I've asked Olivia if she was comfortable with this being on Reddit and she agreed. Also, yes, she has forgiven me for my joke. I told her that I know I was a giant douchebag and that I would never say anything like that ever again. Our relationship is as strong as always, and I know we can get through this difficult time together. So here's the thing. Even though Olivia and I had discussed that we would stay engaged for a while and focus on bigger goals such as buying our house before getting married, she was actually starting to get a little insecure about it. Apparently, she had overheard a few of her coworkers gossiping about her and her permanent engagement at work a couple of months ago, and it had made her really upset. She tried to be reasonable and didn't tell me because she knew I would just tell her that we should get married immediately, but in her head, she knew that waiting was the more financially responsible decision. Also, she had full faith in our relationship. But it was still something she was struggling with. I guess my timing was just wrong. She was already a little on edge when my dad made the joke about this being an eternal engagement, but managed to keep her composure. I guess when I said something similar, it was adding insult to injury. She felt embarrassed and hurt, and it just brought her back to the day she heard her coworkers gossiping. I had no clue about all this. I honestly feel like I haven't been a very good partner to her for not noticing that she was upset. We talked about it and decided that we'll actually have a small ceremony sometime within the next 6 months so she never has any anxiety about it. For the past 2 years, we have been talking about having a nice beach wedding once we have our house, but I think it is more important for our relationship to just have a ceremony. With everything that has been going on in the family, planning a wedding sounds extremely draining, but as long as I have her with me, I think I'll be fine. Also, to those of you asking why she stayed at my mom's place instead of going back to the apartment and making me stay home. Guys, my family and I have known this girl for practically her whole life. She has spent countless hours in that house, and my childhood bedroom is practically her spot. She loves my family. Honestly, before that day, if anyone told me that my own mom and sister would turn against her and be so awful to her, I never would have believed them. This whole situation is extremely disappointing and has attacked literally everything I believe in. I'm concerned about my relationship, my family is not speaking to me, and I'm honestly still in the middle of processing what my brother did. Speaking of my brother, he hasn't been in contact with Olivia since that day. He is also obviously dodging my calls. I don't know where he is. I tried to talk to my family about him, but again, no one was willing to speak to me. My dad is trying to stay neutral but doesn't want to make my mom upset. Apparently, she is hysterical about the possibility of not being in her first grandchild's life. My dad also told me that they tried reaching out to my sil, but she made it clear that she was not interested in speaking to any of them. You could have given me a million years to guess, but I never could have guessed that my brother had a thing for Olivia. He is 4 years older than me. The three of us played together as kids. And like I have already said, Olivia and I have been very close literally forever, although we only started dating when I was in my senior year of high school. My brother has always been popular with girls and has had lots of girlfriends over the years, both serious and casual relationships. If he wanted, he could have asked her out before I did, but he didn't. I don't think I have mentioned this before, but Olivia and I took a break of almost a year during our long-distance phase before getting back together. He knew about that and never made a move on her, not even close. So honestly, it is beyond me how he just pulled this stunt out of the blue. I feel absolutely awful about what he did to my sil. Both Olivia and I tried reaching out to her to explain our side of the story, but she absolutely refused to talk to us. So after trying for a few days, we just decided to respect her choice and not approach her anymore. I honestly don't know what to do about this situation anymore. I still believe that my fiancée deserves an apology from my family for everything she had to hear from them, and I will absolutely make sure she gets one. But for now, we have both agreed that it would be better to let things cool off for a bit before starting another fight. Update 2. Hello everyone, sorry for the super late update, but honestly things have been incredibly stressful in my family and I was not in the mental space to update the post. Again, I'm sorry to keep you guys waiting, and appreciate your patience as I share more details about what has been happening in my crazy life. I can't believe I'm writing this, but my brother has returned to his wife. It has been a few weeks since the whole mess started, and apparently, he turned up at his house last night and begged my sil to give him another chance. He said that he wasn't thinking straight and that it was all Olivia's fault. He had the audacity to say that she had been giving him hints for years, and that night it just got to his head and he took that decision without thinking. I don't know how anyone can believe this joke of a lie, but apparently, my sil did. She decided to forgive him. But that's not even the craziest part. The real reason why I am writing this update is because of my family's reaction to the news. Apparently, my Sil didn't want to be a part of the family anymore and wanted my brother to move out to another state and raise their kid away from my family. My brother tried to convince her to change her mind and she agreed. But she had a condition. She said that she never wanted to see me or my fiancé ever again and that she would only allow my parents and sister to be a part of the baby's life if they all cut me and Olivia out of the family forever. In her opinion, it was fair for her not to want to face the people who caused her so much pain. My brother broke the news to my family and I am genuinely upset to say that they chose him and their future grandkid over me. My mom and sister aren't even speaking to me. It was my dad who drove over to my place to break the news. I tried to defend Olivia and but my dad just told me to let it be and not to make matters worse than they already are. The disappointment I feel towards my whole family cannot possibly be described in words. This was just a few days after my last update. It has been a couple of weeks since then. Olivia and I have been going through a rough patch. Despite my best efforts to reassure her that none of this was her fault, she still feels guilty about me being cut off from my family. Honestly, I could not care less about that at this point. More than anything, I am angry at them for being such cowards and proudly choosing the worst possible stance on this. I've tried to put all of this behind me but I just can't seem to do it. I've been trying to think of ways to get back at them despite Olivia telling me that I should move on. Let's see, maybe I will come up with something. At the very least I want to teach my brother a lesson. Update 3, I've got an interesting update for you guys. As I have already mentioned in my last update, Olivia and I have been really upset about how my family is trying to deal with this whole incident. It is clear that my brother only returned because he realized that Olivia would never even think of being with him and he had nowhere else to go. We don't blame my Sil, of course. It must be daunting to even think of being a single mom. But we also know that it isn't fair to her at all. So amidst all this turmoil in the family, Olivia and I made up a daring plan to expose my brother's true nature. It was a risky move, but one we were willing to undertake for everyone's best interest. I had no doubt that my brother was the same person who didn't hesitate to leave his pregnant wife for his own brother's fiancée. It was impossible that he had a sudden change of heart. And well, if he truly did regret what he did and was a better man now, he would just prove it. So the plan revolved around Olivia feigning interest in my brother, luring him into a trap, and finally exposing him in front of everyone the way he deserves to be. The biggest risk was of course that my brother would see this coming and tell his wife and my family that it was really Olivia who made him act this way and lied about everything, but well, no one was on our side anyway. So we had nothing to lose and everything to gain. We were really nervous. But Olivia was determined to see it through. The plan was that she would show up at my brother's workplace during lunch hour, tell him that she had made a terrible mistake, and bring him to a restaurant to talk about their future. My part in this whale plan was to make sure my Sil was also there in the restaurant waiting to catch him in the act. I knew that even though it was almost guaranteed that my brother would follow Olivia to the restaurant, I would have a hard time making my Sil even hear me out. But well, we had to give it a shot. We went the whole 9 yards too. Olivia took off her engagement ring to be fully convincing. As expected, my brother folded instantly. All it did was show up and fake some tears and sincerity. She told my brother that she was just scared to admit the truth and had finally gotten the courage to leave him, showing him that she was not wearing her engagement ring. Any doubts, he had disappeared after that. Surprisingly, I also did not have a hard time convincing my Sil to come with me. I think that in her heart the poor girl knew the truth the whole time. We waited at the restaurant and sure enough, Olivia came in with my brother. The aftermath was spectacular. My Sil confronted him in public, screamed, and threw a drink at him. My brother looked like he was living his worst nightmare, which was probably this exact scenario. He got super angry at Olivia and started shouting at her, but that's when I stepped in. I had enough of this guy disrespecting her. Nothing a solid punch can't fix, I would say. I walked out with my Sil and Olivia and we drove straight to my mother's house. We told her everything and after a few moments of disbelief, my mom broke down and apologized to Olivia and me for everything she had said in the past. My sister did the same and I'm so grateful to say that I have got my family back. In the aftermath of all this, my brother is left to face the consequences of his actions. We have made it clear to both him and my Sil that he is not welcome in this family anymore, but she and her future child will always be family. My Sil is a wonderful woman and she deserves to be with someone who cherishes her. I know for a fact that she will find that someone. Olivia and I have assured her that we will be there for her and my future niece or nephew and try our best to make sure she never feels alone or overwhelmed. She is still pretty shaken, to be honest, we all are, but I am sure we will all be better with time.